Welcome, everyone, to the Aging and Spirituality podcast. We're so happy to have you back with us here today. I'm Kathy Lee Taylor.
And I'm Chris Jensen.
And what we talk about on this podcast is really about how to embrace we call it unrealized highest life. So those things that you've always wanted to do, that you put on the back burner, that are now in the forefront of your consciousness and you want to tackle them, those are the kinds of things that we're talking about and what is stopping you from getting there. So today we're going to talk about something, it's kind of near and dear to my heart because I wrote a book about this years ago. It never saw the light of day, but it was a great subject for me to talk about at the time and really learn and understand it. And it's actually, I called it Freedom from Doubt at that time. It's really about, how to find peace in your faith. It's really about, if you're not in doubt, you're going to be building your faith. And that's what we're going to talk about, how to overcome the doubt, how to strengthen your faith, and really connect yourself on the spiritual path more with the sacred. That's what's going to build your faith and get you past those moments when you get stuck in those places where you're doubting all of your instincts and doubting your experience and doubting just everything about the world. So really what is most important about, I think, this conversation is saying, what is life really about? What if it was really about a sacred journey? Because that's what yogis believe it is. Life is really a sacred journey. How does that, when I ask you that question, how does that make you feel? Because honestly, it makes me shiver, right? What about you?
It's a very exciting thought. And I think the thing is, whether we know it or not, our life is a spiritual journey.
Yes, it's happening whether you know it or not.
So right. So we might as well get on board and make it the best journey possible, right?
And enjoy the ride. Absolutely. Yeah. When I talk about the sacred, it really gives me, just this flush of emotion and feeling of, I want to embody that more. That's something that's really important to me. So, all right. So instead of being in a wobbly state of doubt, we're going to talk about how to nurture being in a more peaceful way of living, which is to really boost your faith. So let's talk about what those terms actually mean. What is spiritual doubt? So I did just a little AI research. Anybody going down the AI rabbit hole, man, I gotta stop myself because I go nuts with it. I go really nuts with the technology stuff. But anyway, so I started looking at, what it really means to have what we could term spiritual doubt. I mean, it applies to pretty much anything in your life, but doubt is when you're really questioning your own beliefs, your own values, your own practices. It's this little voice in the back of your head that's always contrary to what you know to be true. It's always asking these questions like, are you sure? Yeah, when you thought you really were. So there's lots of things that cause you to be doubtful. I mean, we go through so much in life. Really difficult experiences in life can cause us to doubt. But even, the simple lack of understanding about how the universe works can cause us to feel really disconnected and like, why don't I know this stuff intuitively, right? Like a lot of the study of yoga is, how does everything in this universe work? And as you start to ask those questions, you start to realize how little you do know about the process, right? And then the doubts start to come up. So trauma can bring up doubt, loss can bring up doubt, as can pain and suffering and loneliness.
All the stuff that happens in life, right?
All those things that happen in life. And just the point about making that clear is that you don't have to live that way. It's a choice. It's a choice. Doubt can be a very valuable experience. So remember that. It really is what you do with it. That'll make us question the deeper understanding of what spirit is really about. And what does it mean to be a spiritual being? So, when you're feeling doubt, stop and be grateful for it. It's teaching you something. Now, that doesn't mean you have to use it as a tool over and over to keep teaching you something, because we're going to talk about how to switch over to the other side and be in faith and really, use faith, put your focus on faith and grow that. And then you're not like worried about the niggly
So what do
muggle.
you mean by faith?
Well, okay, so we're going to get into that, but faith is really about a belief in something that's greater than yourself. I think that's probably the most succinct way I can say that.
That's a beautiful description. Yes, I
Yeah,
like.
something that's the world. There's something bigger than ourselves. So we are gonna talk about that, because that's really where one of the biggest tools to be dealing with doubt is to put your focus on faith and grow that. So we're gonna talk about that next. Let's see. I want to just say before we get into that, how do we transform spiritual doubt, as a general overview question? And yogis would say, connect more with God. How many times have we heard that in our spiritual journey? Connect more with God. Take it to God. Take your problems to God. Take your doubts to God. Ask, what should I do about how I'm feeling? What should I do about this situation? So, and that's really what faith is about. You're developing this relationship to God and learning to really relate to the world in an entirely different way. So, doubt is an opportunity to get closer to God. So here we are at the Chris's question about what does faith really mean? So I said it's a belief in something that's greater than oneself. It really means to trust in a higher power, even when things are difficult. Even when things are difficult, especially when things are difficult. It means to have hope for the future. Even when the present moment is really, really challenging, you can still experience hope when you're holding on to your faith. And it can overcome all of those challenges. So faith can look like a lot of things, and I wrote a few down that you might be able to relate with. Faith can give you hope in difficult times. It can help you to cope with stress and anxiety. It can provide you with a sense of purpose and a meaning in life. It can help you connect with others and build a community. And it can give you strength and courage to face your challenges. So this journey, going towards God, taking one step towards God every time you have a concern or a doubt, is really a really important part of the spiritual journey of always going farther on your path. So remember when you're feeling alone. Remember when you need a source of strength and comfort. Use your faith to move closer to God, and you will get those things. You will feel comforted. You will feel like you become stronger, more peaceful, more calm, more centered and empowered in yourself.
For some people, the concept of God may be very different. And I think the important thing is that when you say, a higher power than yourself, I mean, it could be infinite spirit within you, it could be higher consciousness, it could be a particular religious version of God or not,
Important point. And it could be just that connection with inner self that brings you to whatever your definition is of higher power. So yes, thanks for saying that. I use the word God because it's comfortable for me, and that is not always comfortable for everybody. So please, use the words that are comfortable for you. I think they probably have the same meaning. If they don't, you let us know, and we'll adapt our conversation. So, okay, so the first, I'm laughing about going here because we go here every time. The first step in really developing your faith is learning to meditate. Or if you're not a meditator, learn mindfulness, because that's also really a great way to calm your mind. And that's the point, calm your mind and emotions so you can transcend them and get into a connection with the spiritual world, with spirit, with your inner self. That's what you want to do to be able to be focused in the present moment and be able to live with an energy that is in faith. That's going to create a sense of peace for you and a connection with that inner self or that higher power. You can also do a practice of deep listening. uh, through silence and communing in nature. You can go very deep into your connection to the inner self and the higher power. Spending time in nature is really a connection with the divine. You're going to learn how to appreciate beauty, truth, and goodness, and it'll remind you of God's love and presence, of the higher power, the love and presence. So just remember to be patient with yourself, because this is a learning process. And there's always a lot of questions that come up along the way. Another way to really establish yourself in faith, encourage that faith. You want to put energy into it, focus on it, because it's important to you, and that's prayer. And people sometimes really struggle with what prayer is, and please tell me, Chris, if there's something that you want to add to this, but it really is, for me, bringing my thoughts and feelings to a higher power, like being able to connect about those things that are concerning to me, being able to ask questions from my higher power, like I want the answers from my higher power, not outside sources. So that, to me, is really what prayer is about. Do you have anything you want to add on that?
No, I think that's important. Prayer is, I think, a two-way communication too. I mean, you give your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions over to God or their higher power, but then you want to just kind of sit back meditatively and receive. Just try to be open to receiving a response.
No doubt. She's absolutely right, because Spirit is talking to you all the time. And the thing is, it can't get to you where you're not listening. You took the words out of my mouth again. So yes, if you're not listening, you're not going to get those fulfilling answers, and you're going to probably end up in the same place back asking the same question, so pay attention to inner spirit is going to save you a lot of time. You really, when you have these questions and you're looking for this fulfilling answer to come back to you because it's personal for you, and I've said this before, but it's such something worth repeating many times, and that is, when you ask the question and you can ask, if the answer is you're wondering about the answer, because we doubt the answers that come back. Is this really coming from a higher power? Is this, what is this? And I often ask myself, is this answer taking me closer to God or farther away? That's something our teacher gave us years ago, and I use it all the time. And it gives me that sense of confidence that I'm on the right track. And then the doubts fall away and the faith increases, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really good tool. One of the other ways to increase your faith is to be of service to others. We've talked about this one so much. We both love this idea of karma yoga and being in service to others, because you can't get stuck inside yourself when you're helping other people. It's actually one of the easiest, quickest ways to solve all of the turmoil that we get ourselves into, and we get stuck, in these crazy thoughts and positions in life. So serving others helps you connect with your higher power. And the last one that I put down that I love is living a good life, living a life that shows your love and your gratitude for higher power, focusing on things like beauty, truth, goodness, which is the ultimate reality of what the world is about, is a way of really aligning with that higher power's will for you, and living a really good life, which, we want you to know that's available for you. That's why we come here every week and talk about this stuff. Yeah. There's so much more that you haven't realized yet. And so there you go. We're pointing those out. So I do have an exercise here, but I'm really not feeling it. Do you feel like we need to do an exercise at this point?
No, I think you've given us a lot of tools. Yeah, I mean, certainly for me, I've been thinking about all of these tools, and I feel like there's a lot to work with there.
It is a lot to work with.
Yes. One step at a time, I think.
Right. Yeah. So, as everything that we do, you want to be aware, bring the awareness to what you're concerned with first, and then just go through one of those on that list that we gave you today and try it and see if it helps you. I'm going to just read us out with a little poem here. And please, if you have questions about what we talked about today, please let us know. You can get a hold of us at our websites. I'll put it in the show notes. So this is a little poem. I thought it was so cute. It's by a guy by the name of Dave Roberts, and it really sums up what we've been talking about. When you're going through life's valleys and you think there's no way out, you're not the first to feel this way. There's hope, without a doubt. Isn't that cute? I like that.
That's so well said in a few words. That's what I love
Yeah,
about poetry.
exactly. That's the best summary when I thought I was like, that's how we're going to end. Thank you. Thank you for
Perfect.
coming.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
We'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.